Welcome back to Addiction, Depression, Recovery. Today, I want to talk to you about making a plan for your recovery because without a plan, you won't know how to handle the unexpected challenges that will arise. Having a plan gives you something to fall back on when you're unsure and helps you track your progress and stay on course. It's your light in the darkness, your map in unknown territory. So, how do you make a plan? Well, I'm going to go into great detail in this episode and tell you the most important things to have clearly laid out in your own personal plan, as well as what worked for me when I had to make a plan for my own recovery. Each and every person's plan will be different, but there are some overarching themes and some specific points that you should include. This episode will be a bit longer than usual as there's a lot to cover, so let's get started right away. First of all, where did I get all this information? As I said in my last episode, doing research on your own is enormously useful during your recovery to help demystify the process and give you a solid foundation to stand on as you press forward. I got most of the information I'll be going through today from these websites. mentalhelp.net, samhsa.gov, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, sunrisehouse.com, and drugrehab.org. If you'd like to look into how to make your own plan in further detail, these websites are a great place to start, and there are countless other resources that can give further tips. Remember, be proactive about your recovery and learn all you can so you know what to expect. But let's get down to business here. The first part of your personal action plan is the part I referred back to the most during my recovery. Let's call it the wellness section. When I stopped drinking, a strange phenomenon occurred. I had felt so bad for so long, physically and mentally, that I wasn't sure what wellness really felt like anymore. I would wake up in the morning and think I was sick because I didn't have a hangover. I'd ask myself, why do I feel so strange this morning? No headache, my stomach isn't tight in a knot, I'm even a little hungry. And I'm not even sad, I'm looking forward to today. That hasn't happened in a while. Maybe I should take some vitamins. Then I'd realize this is what normal people feel like in the morning. This is what wellness feels like. Most people have trouble recognizing feelings of wellness in themselves after years of abusing their bodies and minds. That's why the first section of your plan should outline what it means for you to experience wellness. What does that mean exactly? Well, maybe you like feeling motivated. Now that you're sober, you have more energy, and you like finding ways to use that energy positively. Maybe you like feeling self-confidence again, which is often strange and foreign at first. Maybe what stands out to you is your physical health, your increased appetite and improved sleeping habits, or a sense of peace and calm that has been absent for too long. Or maybe just the return of hope and optimism after a long, dark time without its light. These feelings on their return can actually be difficult to recognize since they've been away during your addiction. But now, you can refamiliarize yourself with them and get used to them because they're going to be around more often now. The second half of this section is to list the activities that create these feelings of wellness for you. If you want to stay balanced and encourage these feelings, you need to have a specific plan for how you can create these feelings for yourself. Simply knowing how you'd like to feel isn't enough. As always with addiction recovery, you must be proactive. Be ready to actively combat negative feelings, cravings, and triggers when they arrive. That means knowing the activities, practices, and hobbies that work for you, and only you can work out what makes you feel well. I love playing music, and I love playing video games. I used to go hiking on the trails in the canyon near my town, but I hadn't gone in years, until I got sober. I rediscovered that joy once I could see clearly enough to remember it. I also started learning to edit video, which led me to making this YouTube channel and sharing my story with others, which is a new hobby on my list and one I'm really enjoying. I found what works for me, but what works for you? What do you love doing? What did you love doing before your addiction took over your life? But it's not just a list of fun hobbies you're making here. This is a list of things that create feelings of wellness for you. Get that phrase burned into your brain. Feelings of wellness. So for me, playing guitar and hiking are definitely on the list. But so is taking some quiet time to think through my recovery and getting a good night's sleep. Drawing cartoons, quite bad ones mainly, and playing video games are on my list too, but I also added staying better in touch with friends and family and drinking plenty of water every day. It's about wellness, not just enjoyment. Do you feel satisfied after cleaning your house, even if you didn't enjoy it while you were doing it? Then search for things that give you that feeling of accomplishment. Did your addiction take you away from your family? Then make a point of fixing that by spending more time with them now. This whole first section should be a very long section because, as I said, it's the part I looked at the most during my recovery. You can refer to this list when you're feeling down or tempted. And when you do, you want to feel like you have a lot of options. If you only have a few activities to choose from, you may have trouble motivating. With a nice long list, you can force yourself to do at least one of the activities and get on the road back to wellness. If you're having trouble thinking of activities, think of something from one of these categories taken from drugrehab.org. Daily essentials. Things like eating well, drinking enough fluids, and getting enough sleep. Outdoor activities, such as biking, gardening, or nature photography. Meditative practices like yoga, meditation of course, and breathing exercises. Exercise, maybe going to the gym, playing sports, or jogging. Creative activities, perhaps drawing or painting, playing music, writing, or sewing. Friends and family. Things such as writing letters and keeping in touch with loved ones, having coffee or a meal with a friend, or doing activities with family members. And finally, time for yourself, like reading, listening to music, taking a quiet walk, and journaling. Now that you've written down what wellness is for you and the activities that can help you achieve that state, you need to use this information. Measure how you feel each day against what you've defined as wellness for yourself. Remember that recovery is a marathon and not a sprint. And when you start falling behind in your own race, you can find out why with this section. Maybe you'll see that you haven't been doing your wellness activities for a few days because you've been busy. Or see that you haven't been feeling wellness based on your definition of it, and you may need to try new activities if the ones you've been using haven't been working. This first section is important, and you'll use it in relation to a few of the other sections as well. Be clear and completely honest with yourself about what you want and where you can improve. In the next section, you need to list your triggers. If you haven't been through any professional treatment program, you probably aren't aware of your triggers at all, but hopefully I can help you identify what some of them are so you can prepare for them properly. A trigger is a person, circumstance, place, conversation, or activity that can cause you to feel the urge to use. There are some common triggers and some that are specific to each person, so you'll have to do some introspection and be honest with yourself to discover what triggers you. Let's take a look at some common triggers you can watch out for. There's stress. People and places that serve as reminders of your addiction or use, like a favorite bar you used to frequent, a house you used to buy drugs from, or a friend you used to drink with. Being around others who are drinking or using, relationship troubles, memories of stress or trauma, feelings of depression or other intense emotion, even joy, and certain activities like a cup of coffee making you want a cigarette or a song you used to listen to while high making you want to use again. As you can see, there's a broad range of triggers you may face, and ultimately you'll need to discover exactly what triggers you. Maybe you'd get a drink after work with friends every Friday, and that day is going to be particularly tough for you. Have a plan for a positive activity you can replace that with from now on, or you'll be at risk of relapse every Friday. Maybe there's a week every year that you'd go on a trip with friends to a place where drinking was the main activity. Well, you'll need to either get your friends to agree to a different vacation or remove yourself from that trip. It might be tough, even unpleasant, and your friends may have trouble understanding, but be honest and open with them, and if they care about you, they will adjust their plans to spend time with you in a way that is healthy for your rehabilitation. Try to get a complete list of triggers together, adding to it any time you discover a situation that was difficult for you, or you experienced a craving you weren't expecting, or had to confront a memory you thought you had moved past. The more triggers you are aware of, the better prepared you will be when one of them arrives. You also need to recognize and list your warning signs. These are signs that you may be triggered and near a relapse. These can include anxiety or depression, irritability, forgetfulness, negativity, isolating from or avoiding others, nervousness, restlessness, changes in appetite, and a lack of motivation. You might find yourself having negative thoughts about the things that are helping you in your recovery and starting to push them away to make room for your addiction once again. These warning signs can be fleeting, arriving when you encounter a trigger and then fading away. Other times they can be more prolonged, moving into stay and doing long-term damage to your recovery, unless you can catch them before they manifest further. You need to be aware of both your triggers and your warning signs so you can fight back in an organized way by following your plan and enacting the activities you listed in Part 1. Those same wellness activities can be used to stay in control, stopping these warning behaviors and helping you stay focused on your sobriety. Don't let yourself fall back into denial. Stay honest with yourself to stay on top of your recovery. The next part is the crisis plan. If you do find yourself falling into a bad place, if you're having trouble avoiding triggers, if you've fallen into a pattern of warning behaviors you can't get out of on your own, if you've already hit a relapse and can't get back on track, then now is the time to get in touch with the people in your support network. You can't be too proud or too ashamed to contact the people who care about you to get help. You may just need a friend to be around for a little while to hold you accountable, or you may need to be checked into a hospital or see a counselor to get professional help. But without understanding your needs and reviewing your progress regularly, you'll never be able to tell when it's time to get help from others. And without knowing what your warning signs are, you'll never recognize them in time to adjust and avoid a crisis. Have specific instructions, both for you and for others, clearly listed in your plan for situations where your symptoms and warning signs have worsened. What doctor to call, what clinic to contact, what medical conditions you have, what health provider you use, and what medications people should be aware of that you may need. Communicate this part of your plan to those close to you while you are feeling well, and keep in touch with them regularly so that if they don't hear from you for a while, they can check on you and see if you are in a crisis. You may one day be in a bad place and be unable or unwilling to contact those who are able to help. And planning ahead can ensure you have a support network that will step up and get you what you need when you can't help yourself anymore. Your support network needs to know what's in your plan. They need to know what wellness is for you so they know when you're unwell. They need to know your triggers and warning signs so they can watch out for them, and in doing so, watch out for you. And they need to know who else is in your support network so everyone can coordinate, communicate, and work together effectively. Always remember that you aren't in this alone, even when it feels that way. We're almost through your plan now, and we've already covered a lot of great information that can keep you on track. The next section is a short one, and it's a section that will be changing constantly during your recovery. It's your reminder list. This is a place to keep your responsibilities organized and remind yourself of short-term positive goals you need to be working towards. It can be a list of chores you need to do around the house, support groups you're looking into for help, plans you've made to volunteer with charities, events like fun runs or bike tours you may have signed up for, or even simply things you'd like to focus on more, like spending time with your kids or getting more exercise. As you tick things off this list, you can see that you're accomplishing things by staying focused and sober, and gain the motivation you need to make it in long-term recovery. And finally, it's time to list your dreams and goals. This is the most personal section of all, and there's less advice I can give you here than in the other parts of your plan. I'll just say that my dreams seem to get farther and farther away from me during the years I spent drinking, and they're seeming closer and closer now that I'm sober. There must be some things you let go of to hold your addiction tight. And now you can focus on those things all over again. Don't be afraid to write them down, because when you see them written in your plan every day, they become real. I want all of you to reach your dreams. I want all of you to have a newfound focus in your life. I want you to have hope, to have joy again. So let yourself dream. That's what goes in this last section, and it's a great way to wrap up your plan with something positive, hopeful, joyful. Now, implement your plan. Make people aware of it. Refer to it daily to manage your recovery and keep it in the forefront of your mind. Use it to establish a sense of self-reliance, motivation, and the all-important confidence you'll need to continue to abstain from using and maintain your recovery long-term. With the plan put together in advance, you can prepare for unexpected challenges and be ready to respond to them in an organized and self-sufficient manner. Self-sufficiency leads to confidence, and confidence aids recovery. And now, you know how to make a plan, so you should be feeling more confident already. And you deserve to feel confident because you're taking steps to change your life for the better. You're strong, you're brave, and you can do this. A few final notes to wrap up with. I know this video is a lot longer than my other ones, but there was a lot to cover, and I hope the information you found here has been helpful. First of all, this plan is for recovery from addiction, but many aspects of this plan can help with depression or other mental issues as well. The same ideas of staying positive and having a plan when your condition flares up helped me with my depression, and my plan is still ongoing, always changing to fit my needs. There are months that I don't think about having a drink, and there are other months where it seems like I run into a trigger every single day. There are times I go weeks without having a day that depression affects me, and there are times that I find myself in the depths of depression for days on end. But having a plan to refer back to always helps me drag myself back to recovery, sometimes on my hands and knees, but I always get back on top of my situation and my life eventually. And it's all because I have a plan set up in advance that I can hold myself to. Also, I understand that there was a lot of information here, and it can be overwhelming taking it in all at once. So don't try to fill out all the information outlined here at once. Start a little piece at a time. Don't start by trying to make your grand master plan. Just make a start. Identify what wellness is for you if you can. Start listing your triggers. Do this in pieces and don't overwhelm yourself. Stress will only lead to bigger issues, so take it slow and work things out a piece at a time. I'll also add a few other things I kept track of during the beginning of my recovery. Write down how many days you stayed sober and how much money you've saved based on how much you used to spend on your addiction each month. I did both, and I'm still doing it since I quit smoking cigarettes. I was spending about $5 every day on smoking, so I set aside $5 every day now to motivate myself. At $5 a day, I'm saving about $150 every month. That adds up fast, and I'm getting someone special an extra nice Christmas present with the money this year. That kind of motivation and positive reinforcement of your recovery is a great way to keep you focused, and I highly recommend that you give that a try. Remember that the first 90 days are a transitional period and tend to be the most difficult. After that, your cravings, irritability, and stress are going to reduce immensely. So plan ahead for that. Stay close to your support network for the first 3 months. Focus on avoiding your triggers and find ways to deal with cravings right away. Speaking of that, keep in mind these 3 facts about cravings from mentalhealth.net. Cravings are time limited. Cravings will not hurt you, and cravings cannot force you to use. Now, cravings are different from physical withdrawals from more serious drugs, which can hurt you and sometimes require medical attention. But simple cravings can be controlled by planning ahead. Having an activity to occupy your mind with will help distract you. Cravings often only last about 15 minutes. Find something that requires your focused attention for those 15 minutes and you'll be fine. But we'll talk more specifically about cravings in another episode down the road. Wellness, triggers, warning signs, crisis plan, reminder list, dreams and goals. Now you know what needs to be in your plan. You know to do it in pieces, not all at once. You know to inform your support network of your plan. And you know that you're on track, you're doing the right things. These strategies do work, so give them a chance. You will be glad you did when you run into an unexpected trigger and know exactly how to handle it. You will be glad you did if you end up in a crisis situation and your support network springs into action when you need them. And you'll be especially glad you did when you can start realizing your dreams and goals because you feel well and have created healthy habits to replace your addiction. All of this is achievable when you have a plan. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped. I know it helped me. This has been Addiction, Depression, Recovery, and remember, we do heal.